Welcome Knack Rare Coin Insider. Have you ever held a single penny in your hand and wondered if it could secretly be worth a fortune? Most of us toss pennies into jars, leave them in car cup holders, or forget them at store counters. Yet among those countless copper-colored coins, one date and mint-mark combination has captured the attention of collectors, treasure hunters, and dreamers alike: the 2015 D Lincoln cent. At first glance, it's just another ordinary piece of change, a single cent, light as air, barely noticeable. But beneath that tiny surface lies a story that winds through more than a century of American history, artistic design, metal composition, and human obsession with finding value in the smallest of places. And that's what we're diving into today: the full journey of the 2015 D1 cent coin, its design, its minting, its rumored multi-million-dollar value, and the fascinating world that turned a simple penny into a symbol of modern-day treasure hunting. To understand why the 2015 D penny matters, we first need to step back and remember what it represents. The 1 cent coin has carried the face of Abraham Lincoln since 1909, the 100th anniversary of his birth. It was the first U.S. coin ever to feature a real person rather than an abstract figure of liberty, and it marked a turning point in American coinage. Over the decades, the Lincoln cent became a familiar part of daily life, a link between generations, between pocket change and national memory. Each redesign, each mint mark, each subtle shift in metal composition tells a little piece of the nation's economic and cultural story. By the time 2015 arrived, more than a century after the first Lincoln penny rolled off the presses, billions had been struck. Yet that year's Denver minted coin would go on to attract extraordinary attention from collectors because of a combination of rarity rumors, rare varieties, and an internet-driven boom in coin speculation. The 2015 D penny was minted at the Denver Mint in Colorado, one of the primary production facilities for U.S. coinage. The D mint mark, just below the date on the obverse side, tells us exactly where it was made. The Denver Mint has been striking coins since 1906, and its signature, D, appears on millions of pieces each year. In 2015, it produced well over 4 billion Lincoln cents, so how could any of them be special? The answer lies not in quantity, but in quality and quirks. Mint errors, die variations, and subtle differences invisible to the casual observer can turn an everyday coin into a prized rarity. In the world of numismatics, even a small deviation, a double die, a missing letter, a plating bubble, can mean the difference between 1 cent and $100,000. Let's start with the design, because that's where the story truly begins. On the obverse, we see the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln designed by sculptor Victor David Brenner more than a century ago. His sharp profile, facing right, carries a sense of solemn dignity, representing honesty, perseverance, and leadership. Above his head runs the phrase, "In God we trust," a motto first added to coins during the Civil War era and later standardized on all U.S. currency. To Lincoln's left appears the simple word liberty, a reminder of the core value that defined his presidency and the nation's ideals. On the right side, we find the date, 2015, and just below it, that small, D, mint mark identifying Denver. The reverse design shows the Union Shield, introduced in 2010 and still used in 2015. This shield features 13 vertical stripes joined by a horizontal bar at the top, representing the unity of the original 13 states forming one nation. Across the banner draped diagonally across the shield appears the inscription E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one. It's a simple, powerful visual metaphor, a nation forged from diversity, held together by shared strength. Below the shield sits the denomination 1 cent, large and clear, while along the upper rim arcs the inscription United States of America. The design, created by artist Lendl Bass and sculpted by Joseph F. Menza, replaced the previous bicentennial reverse styles that had honored Lincoln's life story between 2009 and 2010. By 2015, collectors had grown accustomed to the new shield design, but many still debated whether it carried the same artistry and symbolism as the classic wheat ears reverse of 1909 to 1958 or the memorial reverse used from 1959 to 2008. Nevertheless, the Union Shield set embodied a modern vision, sleek, patriotic, and minimal. Physically, the 2015 D penny weighs 2.5 grams, following the standard established in 1982 when the mint switched from mostly copper to copper-plated zinc. Each coin is 19.05 millimeters in diameter and 1.52 millimeters thick. Its metallic composition is 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper plating, giving it that familiar red-brown hue. If you've ever noticed how newer pennies corrode or discolor faster than older ones, that's due to the reactive nature of zinc beneath the thin copper layer. While older, pre-1982 pennies were solid copper and carried a heavier, richer feel, the modern cents are lighter and cheaper to produce. Yet ironically, they cost more than 1 cent each to make when factoring in materials and minting costs. This has led to long debates in Congress about whether the penny should be discontinued altogether. But sentimentality and tradition keep it alive. After all, the penny has a charm far larger than its monetary worth. Now, let's address the central mystery that draws viewers in: the unbelievable value sometimes attached to certain 2015 D pennies. You may have seen headlines or viral videos claiming that a single example sold for tens of thousands, or even millions, of dollars. Some videos cite auction listings showing extreme price tags, often mentioning numbers like $69 million, which immediately spark curiosity and skepticism alike. Can a modern penny, minted by the billions, truly be worth that much? The realistic answer is complicated. No regular, unaltered 2015 D cent has ever sold for anything remotely approaching that astronomical figure. However, certain error coins or uniquely preserved specimens have fetched high sums, and exaggerated online claims often mix those real stories with myth and clickbait. Still, these sensational numbers serve an important role. They remind us that numismatics is a world where the improbable can sometimes become possible. A small minting anomaly, a misplaced die, or a doubled feature can transform pocket change into treasure. Among known 2015 D variations, collectors have reported examples with die cracks, plating bubbles, off-center strikes, and even doubled dies, though true double die obverse or reverses remain rare. Die cracks occur when a mint die develops tiny fractures, leaving raised lines or ridges on the finished coin. Off-center strikes happen when the coin blank is misaligned under the die, producing a design that appears shifted or incomplete. These kinds of errors can be worth anywhere from a few dollars to several hundred depending on severity and eye appeal. Some hobbyists claim to have found 2015 D pennies with dramatic doubling on the date or lettering, but most of those turn out to be mechanical doubling rather than true doubled dies, meaning the value remains low. Yet the thrill of discovery, the idea that one might stumble upon the next great rarity, keeps people searching through jars, rolls, and bank boxes by the thousands. To appreciate why collectors become so excited about small variations, we should explore the psychology of coin hunting. Every coin, even a modern one, carries a unique fingerprint. The minting process involves enormous pressure, heat, and precision machinery, but no two dies or planchets behave exactly the same. Over time, dies wear out, details soften, and imperfections multiply. In a production run of billions, a few hundred or even a few dozen may emerge with identifiable anomalies. Spotting one of those is like catching a glimpse of lightning in a bottle. It's not just about profit, it's about connection to history and mastery of observation. A collector spends hours learning the smallest details of Lincoln's hair, the texture of the shield, the alignment of letters, and the spacing between digits. To most people, a penny is worthless clutter. To the numismatist, it's a microcosm of art, metallurgy, and chance. The Denver Mint itself has a fascinating story that adds depth to the 2015 D coin. Established during the Colorado gold rush of the mid-19th century, the facility began as an assay office where miners brought gold dust to be melted and weighed. When it became an official mint in 1906, its purpose was to serve the growing western United States by producing coins more locally instead of shipping everything from Philadelphia. Over time, Denver developed a reputation for high-quality strikes and consistent production, although even it occasionally produced famous errors, like the 1955 double die sent from Philadelphia or the 1922 no D sent associated with die were in Denver. Because of those historical precedents, collectors keep a close eye on every Denver minted coin, hoping to discover another anomaly that might join the ranks of legendary rarities. The 2015 D penny also occupies an interesting place in modern U.S. history. By that year, the world had shifted almost entirely to digital transactions. Cash use was declining, and many young people rarely handled coins at all. Yet at the same time, social media created a renaissance of coin awareness. Platforms like YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram filled with videos of people finding rare pennies worth thousands, often featuring dramatic thumbnails and unbelievable valuations. Some creators exaggerated, others genuinely educated, but together they sparked a new generation of amateur collectors. The 2015 D became one of the poster children of this movement, not because it was the rarest, but because its date was recent enough for everyone to check their own pockets. Anyone could look at their change and feel the thrill of possibility. Maybe that shiny little 2015 D could be the one dot from a market perspective, though the realistic current value of a 2015 D penny depends on its condition and variety. In circulated condition, coins that have been used and show wear, they're typically worth exactly 1 cent. In uncirculated, mint state condition, they might fetch between 10 cents and $1 from collectors assembling date and mint mark sets. If graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC and certified as MS67 red or higher, a near-perfect strike with blazing color, the value can jump into the $30 to $150 range, sometimes more if it's an exceptional specimen. Coins with dramatic mint errors can reach hundreds or occasionally thousands depending on rarity and collector demand. But claims of multi-million-dollar prices, such as $69 million, are more myth than market reality. Those figures often come from mistaken interpretations of online listings, where someone posts an item on eBay for an outrageous amount hoping for attention rather than an actual sale. Nevertheless, the legend persists, adding mystique and excitement to the 2015 D penny's reputation. Still, let's entertain the imagination for a moment. Suppose a truly unique 2015 D were discovered, an experimental planchet, a misstruck die combination, something no one had ever seen before. In theory, if authenticated and if it captured global attention, such a coin could indeed reach astonishing auction heights. The coin market thrives on stories. A $69 million sale would require not just rarity but narrative, something like the 1933 Double Eagle or the 1794 Flowing Hair Dollar, coins that combine history, controversy, and beauty. The 2015 D might never reach that tier, but the dream of hidden treasure is what fuels collecting itself. When you hold a 2015 D penny, you're holding more than metal. You're holding a fragment of industrial art shaped by design decisions spanning decades. You're holding a descendant of the 1909 original, carrying the same portrait that inspired generations. You're holding a reminder that even in an age of digital money, tangible coins still carry emotional weight. The texture of the rim, the gleam of the copper plating, the tiny D under the date, they connect us to a long lineage of craftsmanship and national identity. Think about where that penny has been. It might have traveled through vending machines, passed between hundreds of hands, rested in dusty drawers, and clinked against silver coins in countless pockets. Each scratch tells a micro-story of daily life. Yet among billions, a few remain pristine, carefully preserved in rolls or discovered fresh from mint sets. Those are the coins collectors chase, hoping to grade them at the highest levels. Professional grading, done by experts under magnification, evaluates strike sharpness, luster, color, and marks. A top-tier grade can multiply a coin's value many times over, which is why people still inspect even modern cents with jewelers' loupes and microscopes. The thrill lies in the hunt, the possibility that your coin, unnoticed for years, could be one in a million. To understand why design and symbolism matter so much, consider the evolution of the Lincoln, said Victor David Brenner, the original designer. Never imagined his work would last for more than a century. When his portrait debuted in 1909, critics were divided. Some praised its realism. Others thought it too bold for coinage. The initials, VDB, on the reverse caused controversy because many felt they were too prominent, leading to their removal after only a short run. That brief 1909 VDB issue later became one of the most famous rarities in the series, proving how small design details can shape value. Over the decades, the Lincoln cent adapted to reflect changing times. From wheat ears symbolizing abundance to the Lincoln Memorial reflecting national unity, and finally to the Union Shield expressing federal strength. The 2015 D coin carries that lineage proudly, merging history with modern simplicity. As we move deeper into this story, we'll explore the technical minting process, the journey from blank metal disc to finished coin, and how errors are born within it. We'll also unravel the cultural impact of viral coin videos, the psychology of perceived value, and how a single rumor about a $69 million penny can ignite global fascination overnight. Because behind every coin is a network of human stories: the engravers who designed it, the press operators who struck it, the collectors who chase it, and the dreamers who believe it might make them rich. When we think about coins, we rarely consider the machinery, precision, and human artistry behind them. Every single 2015 D Lincoln cent began its life as a simple round disc called a planchet, a small blank piece of zinc coated with copper. These blanks are produced in staggering quantities. Sheets of zinc are plated with copper and then punched by high-speed presses to create thousands of blanks per minute. Each one weighs 2.5 grams, and before striking, they are carefully inspected by automated systems that reject any blank that's too thin, too thick, or oddly shaped. After cleaning and polishing, the blanks are ready to be transformed into actual coins through the minting process. Inside the Denver Mint, modern coining presses operate with astonishing speed and precision. Each press contains two dies, one for the obverse and one for the reverse, that come together with tremendous pressure, around 50 to 60 tons per strike. The dies are engraved with microscopic detail, reproducing every line of Abraham Lincoln's face and every letter of the Union Shield. When a planchet is fed between them, the pressure forces the design into the metal, creating a permanent impression in less than a fraction of a second. The edge is simultaneously formed by the collar, giving it a smooth circular boundary. In this instant, a blank transforms into currency, a moment of art meeting industry, precision meeting mass production. Yet perfection is elusive. With billions of coins struck, even the smallest flaw in a die or a misfeed of a planchet can create unique variations. This is where error coins come from, and they are the lifeblood of collector fascination. For the 2015 D penny, several categories of errors have been observed by hobbyists, each telling a different story about how chaos sneaks into an otherwise perfect system. One of the most common types is the die crack. Over time, the steel dies that imprint the design suffer stress from the constant striking pressure. Tiny fractures can develop, and when the die strikes another coin, molten metal flows into the cracks, leaving raised lines or bumps on the finished coin. Most die cracks are small and insignificant, but some can be dramatic, forming raised lines across Lincoln's head or through the shield. Collectors love dramatic ones, especially those nicknamed for their appearance, like Cracked Skull or Lightning Strike. A prominent die crack on a 2015 decent could fetch a modest but satisfying premium, turning an ordinary penny into a $10 or $20 find. Then, there are off-center strikes, where the planchet isn't properly aligned within the collar when struck. The result is a coin where part of the design is missing and the blank metal of the planchet is visible. Depending on how far off-center the strike is, these can be worth anywhere from a few dollars to hundreds. The more extreme the misalignment, while still showing the date and mint mark, the higher the value, because it proves authenticity and still allows the coin to be identified. Another intriguing type of error is the broad strike, which occurs when the collar fails to contain the planchet during striking. The metal spreads outward, giving the coin a slightly larger diameter and distorted rim. Some 2015 decents show mild broad strikes, prized for their odd, stretched look. There's also clipped planchets, where the blank punching process accidentally overlaps, producing coins with curved or straight clips along the edge. These can be small crescent shapes or large missing sections. When genuine, they're collectible curiosities, and perhaps the most famous of all, double dies. A true double die error happens not during striking, but during the die creation process itself, when the design hub impresses the image twice slightly out of alignment. This creates visible doubling on letters or numbers. The 1955 double die Lincoln cent is legendary for this, with strong doubling on the date and inscriptions. For 2015 D, reports of doubling usually turn out to be mechanical or strike doubling, where vibration during striking causes a shadow-like effect, visually similar, but worth far less. Still, true double die examples of any modern cent would command serious attention if authenticated. Sometimes even the plating can go wrong. The copper coating on modern cents is extremely thin, only about 8 microns. If the plating process is uneven, bubbles or blisters can form, producing weird, raised spots on the surface. These plating blisters don't usually add value, but they fascinate collectors because they reveal how fragile the modern penny's construction really is. To understand why collectors obsess over these tiny flaws, we have to look at what the minting process represents: a balance between perfection and imperfection. Humans and machines working at immense scale can never achieve 100% consistency. Out of 4 billion 2015 D pennies, perhaps only a few thousand bear noticeable deviations, and among those, maybe only a handful are extreme enough to make headlines. It's a modern lottery written in metal. Once a coin leaves the mint, its journey through circulation begins. Most coins go straight to banks, then into cash registers and pockets. A few end up in collector rolls or mint sets sold to hobbyists. The ones that slip through untouched, bright red, uncirculated, are the treasure seekers hope to find. These coins are often submitted for professional grading, a process that's both science and art. Grading is done by professional organizations such as PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company. A coin is carefully examined under magnification, evaluated for strike sharpness, luster, surface preservation, and color. Modern Lincoln cents are graded on the Sheldon scale from 1 to 70, where 70 represents a perfect coin, flawless even under 5 times magnification. Grades in the 60s are called Mint State MS. For a 2015 D penny, an MS 60 might look decent, but show marks or dullness. An MS-67 or MS-68 will have blazing red luster, nearly perfect surfaces, and razor-sharp detail. At those top grades, even a modern coin becomes rare because few survive pristine from mass production and handling. When a collector receives a graded coin in a sealed plastic holder, called a slab, it becomes a certified piece of history. The label includes the date, minmark, grade, and sometimes a special designation like red for color or first strike if it was among the earliest coins struck. These details matter. The market for graded coins thrives on trust and documented authenticity. An MS-68 2015 D-cent, while still technically only 1 cent, could sell for over $100 simply because of its grade rarity. The market values fluctuate with trends, population reports, and collector interest. Numismatics is not purely about precious metals. It's about stories, rarity, and human fascination. The coin's intrinsic metal value is less than a cent, but its symbolic value can reach millions in imagination. And in a digital age, imagination often spreads faster than facts. That's how the myth of the $69 million penny was born. It started with sensational online posts showing screenshots of eBay listings where sellers had set ridiculous asking prices. Sometimes they weren't scams, just jokes or attention-grabbing attempts. But once those images circulated, they became viral fuel. Suddenly, videos claimed a 2015 D-cent sold for tens of millions. Viewers, hungry for hope, believed it. They rummaged through their change, their children's piggy banks, even drawers filled with forgotten coins. For many, it wasn't just about getting rich. It was about the thrill of possibly discovering something extraordinary in the ordinary. And that thrill connects us to something deeper. Humanity has always been drawn to symbols of hidden treasure. From pirate gold to lost artifacts, we love the idea that the world still holds secrets waiting to be found. The modern penny, small and ignored, becomes a perfect vessel for that dream. The 2015 D coin, being recent and accessible, turned into a modern legend, a digital age gold rush, where the mine is your own pocket. But even beyond myth, coins truly can appreciate in unexpected ways. The Lincoln Cent series has proven that again and again. A 1909 SVB cent, originally worth a penny, can now command over $1,000 in top grade. A 1914 D-cent can reach even higher. The 1992 close AM variety, where the A and M in America nearly touch, sells for thousands. These are not ancient artifacts. They're modern mistakes turned treasures. That's why collectors keep searching. Maybe, just maybe, the next rare variety is out there, waiting to be discovered among the billions of 2015 D-cents. Imagine the life of one such coin. Struck in Denver, it tumbles down a chute, joins thousands in a hopper, and travels in sealed bags to a Federal Reserve distribution center. From there, it's shipped to a local bank in Texas, where it's rolled and handed out as change to a customer. That person buys a coffee, and the coin slips into another hand. Months later, it jingles in the pocket of a teenager who drops it in a tip jar. Then maybe it's vacuumed up, swept aside, and forgotten under a vending machine. Years later, a collector hunting through circulation finds it, wipes away the dust, and notices something strange. A small doubling on the date, a faint line across Lincoln's cheek. Curiosity sparks. The coin is photographed, magnified, studied. Emails fly between hobbyists. Maybe it's new. Maybe it's special. The story begins again. That's the beauty of coins. They are tiny time capsules of everyday life. Every scratch, every fingerprint, every tone of oxidation records where it's been. For 2015 D-cents, you might find some with the brilliant red color of fresh copper, others turning brown from exposure, and some nearly black from corrosion. Collectors categorize them by color: red, RD, red brown, RB, and brown, BN. Each color tells a tale of age and environment. A perfect red coin, stored properly since minting, is rare and prized. It's also important to understand that coin collecting is not just a hobby, it's an intersection of art, history, and economics. The portrait of Lincoln is more than an image, it's an emblem of moral strength, representing unity after division. The Union shield on the back ties that legacy to the idea of a nation holding together despite internal and external pressures. Even if you ignore the financial aspect, the penny is a symbol of perseverance. It's the lowest denomination, yet the one that carries the image of a man who changed a nation. That symbolism gives even a 1-cent coin a kind of dignity, which is why collectors speak of it with respect. And when someone claims that a 2015 D penny could be worth $69 million, it may not be literally true, but it expresses a metaphorical truth about value itself. Value isn't just what the market says, it's what people believe something represents. The myth persists because people want to believe that greatness can hide in the smallest things, that a humble penny can become a priceless story. In the real coin market, the 2015 D's high-end value caps around a few $100s for flawless graded examples, possibly more for unique verified errors. Auction records show that while modern cents rarely hit astronomical numbers, special varieties still attract serious bidding. And once in a while, an error coin makes headlines, reigniting public fascination all over again. Meanwhile, collectors continue to catalog, document, and study every known 2015 D variety. Websites, forums, and YouTube channels post detailed close-ups, discussions about die markers, and debates about which features qualify as true errors. This community of enthusiasts is what keeps the legend alive. It's not just about one coin, it's about curiosity, perseverance, and shared wonder. So, when you look at a 2015 D penny, you might see just a coin. But if you look closer, you'll see a microcosm of human ambition. You'll see design born from artistry, technology refined over centuries, and the undying human need to search for meaning and value, even in the smallest circle of metal. The sound of coins clinking, the shine of copper under light, the feel of ridges between your fingers, these sensations connect us to history more intimately than screens or digital money ever could. Every coin is a survivor, traveling through hands and lives. Every one of them carries potential, whether measured in cents or stories. The 2015 D Lincoln cent, then, isn't just another modern penny. It's a symbol of that timeless chase, the belief that within the ordinary lies the extraordinary. And as long as people keep searching, flipping coins under magnifiers, comparing dates, and dreaming of a multi-million-dollar discovery, the legend of the 2015 D will never die. When we trace the story of the 2015 D penny, we're not just looking at 1 year or one minmark. We're watching a living timeline stretching more than a century across. To truly understand how a modern coin could inspire such obsession, we have to go back to the beginning, to 1909, when the very first Lincoln cent changed everything about American coinage. Before 1909, U.S. coins carried images of liberty, sometimes classical, sometimes abstract, never human. Presidents and real people were considered too political, too controversial to immortalize on money. But 1909 marked the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, and the country wanted to honor him in a lasting way. President Theodore Roosevelt had already started a campaign to beautify U.S. coins, believing that currency should reflect the nation's artistic pride. He commissioned sculptor Victor David Brenner, an immigrant from Lithuania, to create a portrait worthy of Lincoln's legacy. Brenner's design captured Lincoln's quiet strength and moral dignity, based on a photograph taken by Anthony Berger in 1864. It was intimate, human, and revolutionary. When the first Lincoln cents were released on August 2, 1909, lines formed outside banks. People wanted souvenirs of the beloved president. The design featured Lincoln's bust on the obverse and two stalks of wheat framing the words, 1 cent, on the reverse, a simple symbol of prosperity and growth. But controversy erupted almost immediately. At the bottom of the reverse, Brenner had placed his initials, BDB. Some critics claimed they were too large and self-promotional. Within days, the mint halted production and removed the initials, creating two distinct varieties, the 1909 VDB and the 1909 without initials. The San Francisco version, with the S, mint mark and VDB initials, became one of the most famous American rarities, the 1909 SVDB penny. That single controversy proved how emotional people could become about tiny details. And that same passion flows straight into the modern era, all the way to coins like the 2015 D. Each variation, each letter, each mint mark tells a story of change, argument, and human creativity. The Lincoln set remained mostly the same for the next half-century. The wheat ears on the reverse became iconic, symbolizing both agriculture and the simple promise of the American dream. Through the Great Depression, 2 world wars, and countless social transformations, the humble penny endured. Children saved them in jars. Soldiers carried them for luck. Presidents themselves had their faces on higher denominations, but none matched Lincoln's intimate familiarity. In 1959, on the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth and the 50th anniversary of the coin, the reverse was redesigned to feature the Lincoln Memorial, an idea meant to modernize the cent and celebrate the monument that had become a national shrine. Frank Gasparo's new reverse showed the memorial in meticulous miniature detail. If you looked closely with a magnifying glass, you could even see the tiny seated statue of Lincoln inside. This design would dominate for nearly half a century, from 1959 until 2008, and during those years the penny became a fixture of everyday American life. But time changes everything. By the 1970s and 80s, rising metal prices turned the penny into a paradox. Each coin cost nearly as much to produce as its face value. In 1982, the mint made a drastic change, replacing the solid copper alloy with a cheaper zinc core plated in copper. The weight dropped from 3.11 grams to 2.5 grams, and although the appearance stayed similar, the sound, feel, and durability changed forever. A dropped copper penny rings with a crisp, metallic tone. A zinc penny lands with a dull clink. Yet most people never noticed. The penny continued flowing through commerce, its identity secure, its symbolism intact. By the turn of the century, some began calling for its retirement. Inflation had eroded its purchasing power. Vending machines and stores increasingly ignored it. But nostalgia and tradition held firm. The penny was the nation's oldest continuous denomination still in production, and Lincoln's face had become synonymous with integrity. Removing it felt almost sacrilegious. So the coin survived again. Then came 2009, the bicentennial of Lincoln's birth and the centennial of his coin. To mark the event, the mint released 4 special reverse designs depicting stages of Lincoln's life: his humble log cabin birth in Kentucky, his formative years in Indiana, his professional life in Illinois, and his presidency in Washington. Each design carried deep meaning, symbolizing progress and perseverance. For collectors, it was a feast, a rare year with multiple designs on a single denomination. The following year, 2010, brought yet another change: the debut of the Union Shield Reverse, designed by Lindell Bass and sculpted by Joseph Mena. This was more than aesthetic, it was symbolic of national unity. The shield had 13 vertical stripes representing the original states, joined under a single horizontal bar, the federal government. Across it lay the banner, E Pluribus Unum, reaffirming unity through diversity. It was simple, strong, and patriotic, a perfect modern complement to Lincoln's enduring obverse. By the time we reached 2015, The penny had become more than money. It was a cultural artifact. Billions flowed out of the Denver and Philadelphia mints, yet collectors scrutinized every detail. The Denver Mint, marked with its little d, was known for clean strikes and bright luster, while Philadelphia coins carried no mint mark at all. Still, rumors of special varieties, rare double dies, and hidden errors spread across collector forums and YouTube. A generation raised on digital entertainment suddenly found itself enthralled by magnified images of Lincoln's ear or the tiny folds of his coat. The simplest coin had become a digital phenomenon. And that's where the 2015 D gained its fame, not from rarity alone, but from the perfect collision of accessibility, technology, and hope. Anyone, anywhere, could join the search. Unlike rare 19th century coins locked in vaults, the 2015 D existed in everyone's pocket. With a phone camera and a bit of curiosity, ordinary people became treasure hunters. Videos began appearing titled, "Check your change for this rare penny worth thousands," or "The 2015 D coin that sold for $69 million." These videos blended real numismatic education with a touch of sensationalism, and audiences loved them. The story spread like wildfire because it tapped into a universal desire that something ordinary might secretly be extraordinary. That belief made the penny more than a coin. It became a metaphor for opportunity itself. Collectors, who had never cared about modern coins before, began hoarding rolls from banks, unwrapping them under bright lamps, and scanning every date and mint mark. Forums filled with photos, debates, and discoveries. Some posted legitimate double die finds from earlier years, others confused minor machine doubling for fortune. But the energy was contagious. It wasn't just about finding a valuable coin. It was about joining a community, participating in a treasure hunt that anyone could afford to play. Economically, this surge in interest did something remarkable. It revived the small coin collecting market that had been fading. Prices for mint rolls, graded specimens, and error coins rose. Companies offering coin supplies, magnifiers, and grading services saw new business. Even the U.S. Mint benefited indirectly, as the set regained cultural visibility. The 2015 D, though just one issue among many, became the emblem of that resurgence, a symbol of the everyday miracle that hides in plain sight. The psychology behind this is fascinating. Human beings crave stories of transformation. We love to see value appear where there was none, to see potential realized against all odds. In that sense, the 2015 D penny story mirrors the American dream itself. Small beginnings, endless possibility. Even when logical minds know that a single modern coin can't possibly be worth $69 million, the imagination refuses to let go of the chance. Because deep down, we all want to believe that something forgotten, something overlooked, can suddenly change everything. The irony is that the penny, designed to represent humility, became a vehicle for wild speculation. Yet there's something poetic in that too. Lincoln himself rose from humble origins, a log cabin in Kentucky, to the highest office in the land. The penny carrying his image became a reflection of that same rise. From the smallest denomination to a symbol of infinite potential. In collecting, stories drive prices as much as rarity does. That's why a coin like the 1933 Double Eagle could fetch nearly $20 million, not just because of its scarcity, but because of its legal drama and mythic aura. If a unique 2015 D error ever emerged with a story compelling enough, say, an experimental wrong planchet strike authenticated by the mint, it could indeed command unimaginable attention. The $69 million figure might be fantasy today, but every record once began as an impossibility. Beyond markets and myths, though, lies something deeper: connection. Coins outlast us. They move silently through generations, carrying traces of countless lives. A 2015 D penny minted in Denver might end up in a child's piggy bank in Karachi, a traveler's pocket in Paris, or a collector's case in New York. It's a global traveler disguised as copper, and even as digital payments dominate, the coin remains tactile proof of human creativity. No electronic transaction will ever gleam in the light, smell faintly of metal, or bear the microscopic imperfections of a die crack. That's why collectors hold coins close. They are history you can touch. So when we talk about the 2015 D penny and its legendary $69 million myth, we're really talking about faith in discovery, in possibility, in the idea that beauty and luck might still exist in the palm of your hand. Whether you believe in the myth or not, it has already done something extraordinary. It made millions of people look at a penny and feel wonder again. That's what keeps the story alive. Somewhere right now, a person is pouring out a jar of change, eyes scanning for that tiny D below the date. Maybe they'll find an ordinary coin, maybe a small die crack, maybe nothing special at all. But for that moment, they're part of a timeless human ritual, the search for hidden value, the thrill of maybe, just maybe, finding gold among copper. In today's world of digital money and online marketplaces, the humble 1-cent coin might seem like a relic. Yet paradoxically, that very smallness gives it an aura of mystery. When people hear about a simple copper-colored coin from 2015 Denver being whispered about as worth tens of millions, they feel that electric mix of disbelief and curiosity. How can something so common, so overlooked, be so powerful? To understand why that question still grips millions, we have to look at the invisible machinery of modern numismatics, the grading rooms, auction platforms, and collector communities that turn pocket change into history. Every coin that becomes famous travels through a transformation, from circulation to certification. In the United States, two giants dominate this world: the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, and the Numismatic Guarantee Company, NGC. Behind locked doors and under bright halogen lamps, experts examine coins through microscopes, measuring every line, every field, every hairline scratch. They don white gloves, avoid fingerprints, and use soft air jets to remove the smallest dust particles. When they assign a grade, it's like giving the coin a new identity, a numeric value on the Sheldon scale, from 1 to 70, where 70 represents absolute perfection, a coin without even the faintest blemish. A 2015 D cent pulled from a roll can range anywhere from a dull, circulated -50 Australian dollars to a flawless MS-70. The difference might seem microscopic, but in the collector's market, it's astronomical. An MS-65 might be worth a few dollars, while an MS-70 with pristine red luster could command hundreds. And when the narrative takes hold, when someone claims a specific MS-70 sold for $69 million, the imagination takes flight. This obsession with grading reveals something fundamental about human psychology, our craving for perfection. People don't just want a coin, they want the coin, the one that somehow survived unscathed, the perfect survivor from billions. In a way, this hunt mirrors our own search for significance in a chaotic world. The 2015 D penny becomes a metaphor for excellence hiding among the ordinary. Once a coin is graded, it enters another world, the marketplace. Decades ago, that meant live auctions in hotel ballrooms, where men in suits lifted paddles while an auctioneer rattled off bids. Today, the entire stage has shifted online. Platforms like eBay, heritage auctions, great collections, and countless Facebook groups allow collectors from every continent to buy and sell coins 24 hours a day. The 2015 D penny has appeared on all of them, sometimes at fair market prices, sometimes at wild dream numbers that fuel legends. Screenshots of outrageous listings, $1 million, $10 million, $69 million, circulate across social media, stripped of context and transformed into viral fuel. And this is where the power of digital storytelling kicks in. A single TikTok video showing a 2015 D penny under magnification, claiming it's worth millions, can reach tens of millions of views overnight. The visuals are hypnotic. The shining copper, the slow zoom on Lincoln's eye, the voiceover whispering about hidden errors and impossible prices. Viewers share it, comment, "I have one too," and rush to check their own change. Suddenly, a wave of curiosity sweeps across the world. This is the new ecosystem of value, half numismatics, half social media theater. Some content creators know exactly what they're doing. They blend genuine education with suspense, showing real examples of rare double-die obverse or misstruck coins, then teasing the possibility that one day, just maybe, a 2015 D could break all records. Others simply chase clicks, repeating headlines about pennies worth millions, without understanding grading or rarity. Yet together, they create a culture of discovery, one where even a single cent becomes a source of endless fascination. Professional graders watch this phenomenon with mixed emotions. On one hand, it drives new collectors into the hobby, reviving interest among younger generations who grew up with smartphones instead of coin albums. On the other, it creates unrealistic expectations. A genuine double-die 1955 Lincoln cent is 1,000-to-1 rarity. A flawless 2015 D without any recognized error is worth perhaps $1 in high grade. But the myth persists because it speaks to hope, the universal hope that you could be the lucky one who finds the miracle coin. Behind that hope lies a subtle lesson in economics. Value is not just a matter of metal content or rarity. It's a story traded between people. When enough people believe a story, even temporarily, prices shift. We've seen it with cryptocurrencies, art NFTs, sneakers, and now coins. The 2015 D penny sits at the intersection of tangible history and digital hype, a perfect symbol of our age. The role of auction houses here is both fascinating and theatrical. When a coin genuinely sells for a record price, the media amplifies it. Headlines like, "Rare penny fetches $1.7 million at auction." Those numbers are real, but they usually refer to historically rare varieties, not modern issues. Still, casual readers blur the lines. They see, "Rare penny worth millions," and assume it could be theirs. Thus, the legend of the 2015 D continues to feed on fragments of truth wrapped in waves of imagination. Technology adds another layer. Artificial intelligence tools and high-resolution scanners can now identify potential errors faster than the human eye. There are mobile apps that let users photograph their coins and get instant feedback on condition, year, and mint mark. Algorithms trained on thousands of verified specimens can flag anomalies that might indicate a die crack, off-center strike, or lamination flaw. This democratization of expertise makes the treasure hunt even more thrilling. Everyone becomes a micrograder, scanning their coins like detectives. But even with AI, one thing remains unquantifiable: the emotional value of the find. When someone posts online that they discovered a perfect 2015 D penny, the comments flood in. Congratulations, disbelief, envy, camaraderie. It becomes a shared ritual. The coin is no longer just metal. It's a badge of participation in a global adventure. Another powerful factor is nostalgia. Older collectors remember when finding a weak penny and change felt like unearthing history. The 2015 D brings that feeling back for a digital generation. It bridges eras, the tactile world of minting and the virtual world of viral fame. Kids who never handled paper money now film macro videos of coins gleaming under phone lights, narrating like seasoned numismatists. Yet for all the hype, the heart of this story is authenticity. Serious collectors know that the 2015 D, while common, represents an unbroken chain of craftsmanship. Each coin begins as a simple blank planchet. In the Denver Mint, massive presses strike these planchets with precision dies carrying Lincoln's portrait and the Union shield. The impact happens in milliseconds, exerting tons of pressure, transforming soft metal into enduring art. Those dies wear down over time, leading to minute variations, tiny differences in texture, strike strength, and alignment. For experts, these micro variations tell stories about minting batches, production speeds, and even machinery calibration. In rare cases, an overused or misaligned die creates visible doubling or cracks. If such a variety were confirmed on a 2015 D, it could indeed become historically valuable. That's why so many eyes are still searching. Each small imperfection holds the potential for discovery. But amid this frenzy, genuine numismatic education thrives. Thousands of people who started searching for a $69 million penny ended up learning about die states, planchet composition, min marks, and grading standards. They bought magnifying lenses, read coin books, and joined clubs. What began as a viral fantasy evolved into an appreciation for art, history, and science. That's perhaps the most valuable outcome of all. Curiosity reborn. If we step back, the 2015 D penny becomes a mirror reflecting the era that created it. It's not just metal stamped with Lincoln's face. It's data, myth, nostalgia, and collective imagination fused together. It shows how humans, even in a digital century, still crave tangible symbols of luck and legacy. A blockchain record can prove ownership, but only a coin can carry the warmth of touch and the gleam of light across decades. Think of how many hands a single penny might pass through: a cashier, a student, a traveler, a collector. Each transfer adds invisible layers of history. One might buy a candy, another might rest in a drawer for years before being rediscovered. When a person finally notices the tiny D beneath the date and searches online, they step into a century-old conversation linking millions across time. The modern marketplace, with its constant hum of speculation, often forgets that behind every collectible lies a story of craftsmanship and meaning. The Denver Mint's 2015 presses didn't just manufacture coins. They preserved an idea that symbols still matter, that the face of a leader born in poverty and driven by justice can still inspire hope. Every time someone holds a penny. So, when you see a headline claiming a 2015 D penny sold for $69 million, you're not really reading about a sale. You're reading about imagination measured in dollars. You're witnessing a collective dream, the dream that a tiny, forgotten object could change someone's life overnight. And maybe, just maybe, that belief is what truly gives the coin its worth. The longer you think about it, the clearer it becomes. This coin isn't valuable because it's rare. It's valuable because it reminds us that value itself is a human story. The $69 million myth endures not as a lie, but as a modern legend, a digital folktale about luck, faith, and the enduring beauty of small things. As we reach the final chapter of this journey, the story of the 2015 D penny has become more than a discussion about copper, zinc, or mint marks. It has become a mirror of who we are, as collectors, as dreamers, as believers in the power of small things to hold big meaning. But before the myth turns into legend completely, let's step for a moment into the world of hard evidence, the cold precision of science, and the strange poetry that hides within it. Every coin ever struck at the U.S. Mint carries a fingerprint, not a human one, but a mechanical signature. Under high magnification, the dies used to strike coins leave microscopic tool marks unique to each pair. Those marks are as distinctive as DNA, allowing forensic numismatists to identify exactly which die struck which coin. This is the science that separates myths from miracles. When a rare error coin is authenticated, perhaps struck on a foreign planchet or showing a true double die, experts compare every line and shadow against known die markers. If the pattern matches, the coin's identity becomes unquestionable. So far, no 2015 D penny has surfaced with verified features worthy of a multi-million-dollar valuation. There are small die chips, faint cracks, and strike-throughs caused by debris, minor quirks that add character but not fortune. And yet, collectors keep searching. Because the essence of collecting is not possession, it is pursuit. The moment before discovery, the heartbeat of possibility, that's the real treasure. Still, incredible sales have occurred in coin history. A 1794 flowing hair silver dollar once sold for over $10 million. A 1933 St. Gaudens double eagle reached nearly $20 million. Even a humble penny, the 1943 copper Lincoln cent, crossed the $1 million mark because of its accidental rarity. These examples prove that small metal discs can hold astonishing power when history, rarity, and emotion collide. That's why people continue to whisper about the 2015 D. It's not that the coin itself has achieved that mythical $69 million sale. It's that it symbolizes the dream that it could. It stands as a digital age parable, where the lines between myth and truth blur until belief itself becomes a kind of currency. In numismatics, value is born from four pillars: rarity, demand, condition, and story. The first three can be measured, but the fourth, the story, is limitless. A coin with a powerful narrative can capture the imagination of millions and transcend metal entirely. The 2015 D penny, with its swirl of online legends and viral fame, has done exactly that. It may never be rare in the traditional sense, but it has already achieved immortality through storytelling. And what is money, if not a story we all agree to believe? Every dollar, every coin, is a shared act of faith. Faith that a piece of metal or paper has value because we say it does. So when the internet declares that a single 2015 D penny is worth $69 million, it is simply extending that same faith into the realm of dreams. Collectors often speak of the moment of light, that instant when a coin catches the sun just right and gleams as if alive. Maybe that's why this myth won't die. Because deep down, everyone wants to experience that glint, that spark of magic in something ordinary. If you walk into the Denver Mint today, you'll hear the rhythmic thunder of coin presses striking hundreds of coins every second. You'll see conveyor belts carrying bright new pennies, each identical, each perfect, each destined to vanish into commerce. Among them, somewhere, there's a coin that will travel farther than the rest. It might end up in a vending machine in Chicago, or in the hands of a schoolchild who will keep it because it feels lucky. Maybe it will lie forgotten in a drawer for 20 years, only to be rediscovered when someone sees a video about the $69 million penny. They'll pull it out, hold it to the light, and for one fleeting second, they'll feel the thrill of possibility. That moment is priceless, because behind the numbers and the myths lies the truth. Coins are stories of us, our history, our ambition, our hope to leave something that lasts. When Lincoln's face was first engraved onto the cent in 1909, it wasn't meant to create fortune. It was meant to honor virtue, endurance, and sacrifice. And more than a century later, that same face still travels the world, reminding us that greatness often wears a humble disguise. The 2015 D penny is, at its core, a child of two centuries, one foot in the industrial past, one in the digital present. It is the echo of roaring mint presses and the glow of phone screens. It connects the tactile world of metal to the intangible world of belief. Some will say the myth of the $69 million penny is ridiculous, that no modern coin could ever reach such a price. And perhaps they're right. But legends aren't measured by logic. They're measured by how deeply they make us feel. Every time someone searches their pocket change and dreams, that legend grows stronger. In a world obsessed with digital numbers and invisible wealth, maybe what people are really yearning for is something they can hold. Something small, solid, and real. A penny may not buy anything anymore, but it can still buy a moment of wonder. And that, in a strange and beautiful way, makes it priceless. So, if you ever find a 2015 D penny glinting at you from the ground, pick it up. Look closely. Feel its weight, 2.5 grams of copper-plated zinc, born in Denver, carrying more history than its size can contain. Think about the billions like it, scattered across the planet, and then realize this: no two have lived the same journey. Yours might have crossed thousands of miles, seen countless hands, survived endless moments of exchange. And now it's with you. That, right there, is its true fortune. Maybe one day a flawless 2015 D will break a record. Maybe it won't. But its story, this incredible blend of history, hope, science, and myth, will endure long after the markets forget the numbers. Because the real worth of the 2015 D penny isn't in dollars. It's in what it reminds us, that even the smallest things can carry the largest dreams. That sometimes, a coin worth 1 cent can be worth the entire world to the person who believes in it. And as the voice fades, as the camera zooms slowly onto that shining copper coin under soft light, one final thought lingers in the air, a whisper between truth and imagination. Maybe, just maybe, the world's next $69 million treasure is already in your pocket.